You know, Illinois is a pretty amazing place. We have outstanding infrastructure, the best. We have amazing property taxes and sales tax. The summers are nice and cool. The winters are nice and warm. Construction is done at a rapid pace. You know, road projects, they take like, 3 days max. They're lickety split. There's one thing that is genuinely insane about Illinois, and that's the drivers. The drivers are so bad. There's like this extreme where it's like a bunch of aggressive drivers, and then there's people driving like 30 under the speed limit. And then there's not much in between that. You see, Michigan, there was some between that. Not much, but there was some. Here, it's like you're on one extreme or the other, and there's no in between. So that is why I'm going to install a dash cam for the first time. I've actually never had a dash cam ever, so this is the first time. I'll link the products that I got in the description, and let's just get right into it. So I picked up a dash cam kit from Amazon. It's a pretty cheap dash cam. This one is by Aukey. And I also got a kit to basically utilize the fuse box instead of having to rely on a cigarette plug. I hate how I'm like awkwardly having to like lean down because I'll just hit my head on this. So using a fuse box will make it a lot more clean. You won't see any wires, and it'll just make it so like it's just clean. Hopefully I'll never have to ever see this thing again after I install it today. I want to get this thing just up and running, hidden away, and then just, again, hopefully never use it, because if I'm using this, I'm probably in an accident. But yeah, let's get right into it. So here we have my Volkswagen GTI, pretty basic car. To find the fuse box in my Volkswagen GTI, well, it's right here, nice and simple. Now you'll see that a lot of the work is already done. I was doing some troubleshooting. So essentially you have to go through and test with a multimeter which fuse that you want to use, right? So if you want to have the dash cam always running, you have to find a fuse that is always powered on. For example, I don't really want to do that, so I found a fuse that only goes on when the ignition is on. That way it's not having any, battery draw, and I just think it's a little bit cleaner. And I don't think that this dash cam actually supports like the motion sensing, so there's no need to be powered on at all times. So I am really bad with electrical work, but it's actually pretty easy. Switch to voltage, select, I don't even know what it's called, but basically just like the auto version. How you're gonna test it is grab your keys, and I feel a sneeze coming. Grab a fuse, grab a multimeter, switch to volts, and you are going to go through and find a fuse that is powered off. So it'll show 0 volts or somewhere around 0. Obviously connect this to ground. There's one basically near every single fuse box. There is a ground. They kind of planned ahead. And yeah, you're just gonna see what you can find. All right, so let's go through. I already kind of know which ones are powered and which ones are not, but you'll just have to go through, test that yourself. All right, hopefully you can see this one's reading about 12 volts, makes sense. And the car is off, so we are not going to use this one. Let's keep going through, see what we can find. So this one isn't really getting any sort of reading, so this would be a good one to use. And now we can double check that by powering on the car. You can cue the horrible Volkswagen noise of ignition on. But you can see there, we're right at 12 volts. So this is one that would work. So looking at the fuse box now, you're basically just going to tap into that fuse. It's a very simple kit. I'll show you a little bit more. So here we have an add a fuse. Now, what this does is it allows you to take one fuse slot, put 2 fuses. There's a 10 right here. This was actually the original one. So this is going to be closest to the prongs themselves. Then there's one that comes supplied with the kit. So that works. All you do is just put it in. It's pretty easy. So there's a converter that is included. So essentially you're taking the input, which is 12 volt, and outputting to 5 volt. That's what the dash cam requires. So all you're gonna do is find a ground. I found one right there. It's very easy to tap into. So I would recommend using that. So you have the add a fuse, and all you're going to do is take the actual powered end, and depending on if you want it always powered or just to power on with a car, you can plug it in. And they're all nice and labeled, so makes it pretty easy. I covered up this one just in case. Bring the add a fuse, plug it into the yellow cable. This one is the one that powers on actually with the car, so nice and easy. And that's it. So really all it is ground, power into the fuse, and this outputs right into a micro USB. This goes right into the dash cam. So now I'm just going to clean everything up, and sorry if I didn't explain how to take the trim off. It's really easy. Basically, there's a slit right here, stick a flat head in, pry it off. For this side trim, that goes like that. Again, you just pry it off. This stuff is really easy to get off. I've had the fun of doing a VW headliner before. These are the easy trims, so you shouldn't have an issue. So I apologize for the poor lighting, but hopefully you guys can see relatively well. We're going to be taking the dash cam and kind of mocking up where it will actually go. Now it kind of sucks I have an iPass because I could get it to where I barely see it. Hopefully I'll be able to find a position for that, but what we're going to worry about right now is routing the wire through the headliner. It's pretty easy. Just kind of stuff it. It's just, it'll eventually like catch itself, and you'll just have to go down the headliner just like this, and it's very easy. I'm gonna see if this is easier by using a trim tool. Hopefully it is. So, trick for getting this trim off: under the airbag badge, take a flathead. Kind of sucks, but you have to just manhandle it off. There we go. And in classic VW fashion, that clip obviously broke. Great. Oh, God, I fucking hate VW. All right, there we go. So I was able to kind of stuff it. Instead of taking this trim off, I just kind of stuffed, and that seemed to work. All right, put the little airbag symbol on. Hopefully it fits still. Great, that broke off too, but it's in there. God, I fucking hate Volkswagen. So the cable is having issues catching the headliner and staying. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually going to wrap the cable in tape to make it a little bit thicker. Now, hopefully what this will do is make it so that it's thick enough to actually grab the headliner, and you can kind of stuff it in there. Yep, so that's a bit thicker. Go ahead and stuff that in there. That's already feeling better. Yep, there we go. That worked wonders. Yep, so I'm just gonna do that basically leading up to it, and yeah, that'll work. All right, so let's do a final test just to confirm that this works before I really shove it in there. Yep, powered on, we're good. Cool, that's awesome. So for mounting the actual dash cam itself, they provide some stickies. So 3M double-sided tape, and it's basically just a plate. So this plate snaps back into the rear like so. And so you're not actually permanently mounting the dash cam, you're permanently mounting this. I say permanently, you can just kind of peel it off. So we'll take the 3M side, stick it onto this plate like so. All right, cool. Now we'll put this on the actual dash cam and we'll kind of just like line it up. So the way that I'm doing this is I'm using the mirror to block my line of sight to the dash cam because I don't want to look at it. It's ugly, and yeah, it's ugly. So I'm kind of sitting back in my normal driving position, and I'm just gonna kind of line it up using the mirror so that I don't see it. And I think that looks just about perfect. So I'm gonna do, yeah, it's about right in line with the eye pass. So I'll just remember that. All right, so line it up. Just lightly press, get into my driving position, and I don't even see that. So we're good. I'm firmly pressing, and yeah, that's on. Cool, okay, plug that in. Obviously I'm going to put this up here, but yeah, there it goes. Now we can just kind of set where we want it to be. I think right about there. It's just about perfect. Yeah, cool, awesome. Now I'll just throw the trim back on. This little side piece goes in first. So right here, we can see the footage from the dash cam itself, and overall, I think it looks fine. It's acceptable, you know? Like, you can see the details pretty well. You're not gonna be able to make out like individual license plates, which is kind of unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. It's a cheap system. Night footage, yeah, it looks fine. Again, it's nothing crazy, but if you are not the cause of an accident, you'll be able to see that in the video. So I think it's good.